Hey guys, we'll just give it a few minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. Hey guys, let's give it a few minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. Hey Aaron, good to see you in the chat. Make sure if you guys haven't, go ahead and sign up for Blowfin in the description, and we'll go over some leverage trades. And it's one of the best non-KYC leverage exchanges in my opinion. So should be non-KYC for at least another 12 months. So definitely take advantage of it. Good to see you, Virginia. And guys, make sure you like the video if you liked it. Really appreciate it. Helps get the video out to some more viewers so we can get more people in this live stream. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. So obviously the market's been very choppy lately. It's been pretty annoying. Just, again, any pump gets sold off into, and then we just end up chopping in the same range that we've been in for over a week. So right now, looking at Bitcoin, it's at 95,000. So you can see it bounced off of the 100-day EMA at 94,000. So great to see there. Again, you can see here it's staying between this 50-day EMA and 100-day EMA. And it's been there for at least a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. So right now, what I'm expecting is if we break down below this 100-day EMA, probably going to bounce off of 92K, potentially getting down to 89K. But if we do end up breaking to the upside, what I'm going to be looking for is a break above 100K and then a retest of support and before continuing higher. So just like we mentioned in the last stream, I recommend having limit orders set, in my opinion, at least around between 89 to 92K. This is going to be a great level. There's going to be a lot of buys here. So definitely go ahead and try that. And then also, if you're looking to buy on the upside, I'd wait for a break above 100K and then buy on the retest there. So I'm just looking for those two. But as you can see, the different levels, 90K, 85K, and then 80K as far as good buy levels there. All right. Now, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I will answer them as well as far as different tokens. But looking at Ethereum, so for Ethereum here, you can see 2750 is huge resistance. So it is staying at resistance for some time now. And anytime we try to break above it, heck, even on the 4 hour, guys, if you look at the 4 hour, I mean, just look at this candle on the 4 hour. Like, I mean, that is a crazy candle there. Crazy reversal candle back to the downside. So it shows 2750 is huge resistance right now. And again, until we can break and close above that, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, probably going to stay in this range. Now, I know I did call a long here. You know, Ethereum was breaking out. We got the long at about 2740. And from there, it went all the way up to 2850. So we did have a good entry, but you can see the daily could not close above this 2750 level, and then we rejected. So in my opinion, ETH is going to keep bouncing between 2500 and 2750 until we have some big catalyst to the upside. So I mentioned here that if you do want to enter back for Ethereum, if you aren't in currently, then what I would say is either one, wait for a further pullback, potentially to this 2370 level. This would be a great level to buy here. Or you could even go all the way down to 2170, which you can see it did bounce off of in the past, as well as this previous wick. So multiple good buy areas. But again, waiting for Ethereum to break out here. I know there's been some bullish news over the past few days. I did make an X post on it, basically saying that, you know, Ethereum is starting to outperform Bitcoin. We do have some whales actually taking Ethereum off of Binance, so showing they're going to hold it, which is very bullish. But yeah, really everyone's just waiting because all of the FUD that happened with Solana. You know, you had that Hayden Davis guy with the Libra token, basically, you know, taking hundreds of millions of dollars, 100 million actually, and then from there, basically everyone was getting tired of the Solana chain, and they ended up, you know, selling Solana and switching over to other chains, even if it was only for a day or two. Like, people are fed up with all of the extraction that's going on in the markets, and that's why, in my opinion, Ethereum is going to outperform probably, I would say, within the next few weeks. But again, it's one of those things where you just got to wait and see. So that's what I'm watching for right now. But if you're looking to buy Ethereum on the upside here, then you can wait for a break above this 2750 level and then retest as support, and then that's where you can buy. So either a break and close above on the 4 hour or the daily. Those are two good levels there. And then again, to the downside, I mean, you could place some buy orders near 2500 if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, but probably waiting to 2370 or 2170 would be your great buy levels there. So deciding what you want to do there. But yeah, right now the RSI is curving to the downside. Hopefully it does not cross below the signal line, but the stock RSI is overbought now, crossing down. So maybe some potential chop before continuing higher. So I'm going to be watching that very closely. Now, Iden says, Sol looks quite bottomed. What do you think? And then, hey, what's going on, Julian? Yeah, let's go ahead and look at Solana real quick. So Solana is definitely, it looks pretty bottomed. And even on the last stream, we talked about Solana getting close to it was close, you know, I think it was around 194. And I said, watch 180, could bounce there. If not, then watch 160. And 180 did not hold at all. A lot of sell pressure here. You can see went right through it, but it bounced off of 160. So in my opinion, I'm thinking 155 to 160 could be a good bounce level. I mean, looking at the RSI right now, you can see it's, whoops, sorry guys. Let's see, let me just do a text real quick. So yeah, you can see that it's, you know, at about 160 right now, about 166. So depending if we can come back down, I would definitely place some buy orders here if you did not have them, some limit orders between 155 to 160. Great levels here. And then if we do end up going down further, then I would look at 126. You can see it bounced a lot from 126 in the past. So 125, 126, great levels, even down to 120 if you can get it. So I'd be so confident here as to say we can draw this, you know, a little buy level here. And in my opinion, that would be a great time to buy. Now what we're seeing is this previous support turn resistance. And hold on real quick. All right, so this previous support turned resistance. So now you can see, I mean, we got a lot of resistance back to the upside. Still got this 180 level is going to be some big resistance for us. But like I said, if you can get some good entries near 160 or even this 125, then you'll be sitting pretty good, especially as the RSI is crossing down to the daily for being oversold. So could be some good pressure there. But looking at Julian's question, he says, talking about Sol, what are your thoughts on it reaching 150 and breaking that support resistance? So yeah, so 150 would be about, let's see right here. So 150, again, it's possible, right? My only thing would be, because it's getting so close to being oversold, I'm pretty confident this 155 to 160 should hold, at least temporarily, for a relief bounce going up to 180. So that would be like a 10% move, maybe a little bit more. So that's why I am still tentatively bullish. I mean, again, we had this huge drop here, right? And then we had this wick, but you can see that this was nearly oversold on the RSI, and then we had a big bounce. And so could that same thing be happening here, but on a larger scale? We had this huge down, this little wick, and potentially this could be the oversold buy area, right? So that's what I'm looking at right now. So yeah, placing some limits for Solana between 155 to 160. I think it'd be a good bet. If you want to go to 150, you can. Again, they may or may not get filled, but yeah, this whole RSI on the daily is what I'm really looking at. Vshak says thoughts on Sui. Yeah, let's go ahead and check out Sui. So Sui, Sui is one of those coins that I'm actually bullish on. People call it the Solana killer. I know that they have, I think it's the IKRA launch. It's like for multi-chain assets. And that's something that should be out. Let me double check, guys. Also, if you guys aren't following Layer GG Official, great X account to follow. He posts a lot of good calendar updates. So you can see he posted the February calendar update. For Sui, let's see. Yeah, so IKA launch, multi-chain asset. So this is happening sometime in February. I'm not sure if it's already happened. If it did, then go ahead and just post it in the chat. But yeah, this could be a short-term catalyst for Sui. Now, looking at the price, let me see. So it's at $3 right now. So honestly, guys, $3 isn't a bad level for Sui. Like if you scroll back here, where it wicked to in the past, it was at $3, or it was about $2.85 here. But you can see nonetheless, these candle closes were just around $3. And so you have the 200-day EMA here, which could create some good pressure. Now, the only thing I would say is just looking at this RSI crossing to the downside, it is not close to being oversold yet. Still has some more room. Stock RSI is still curving to the downside. So with that said, I would not front run this $3. I would, at a minimum, go for $2.85. So I'd place a limit order at $2.85. And then here, last time we had that huge capitulation wick, February 3rd, at $2.37. So you can see it was previous resistance multiple times here. Now it turns support. So yeah, so I would say $2.85, guys, and then call it $2.40. $2.85 and $2.40. Those would be some good levels here. So that's what I'll be waiting for. I would not be buying right now. I'd be waiting for at least these two levels here. As far as Sui in general, I mean, I am still bullish on it, but you can see here that this 21 EMA is acting as this blue line here. This blue line is acting as resistance. I'll go ahead and widen the chart so you can see. But yeah, so you can see here, if we take across, let's see, all these EMAs out. So yeah, so you can see a lot clearer there. This 21 EMA on the daily is acting as resistance, right? And so with that said, we need to wait until, eventually price ends up bouncing and can break above this 21 EMA. So that's something I'm watching as well, is this resistance. But yeah, like I said, you don't want to be rushing, especially when, you don't want to be trying to catch a falling knife, as people say, especially as the market continues lower. So you want to be bidding at these major support and resistance levels on the daily and the weekly. Let's see. Now let's go ahead and look at AVAX. So AVAX is an interesting one as well. With AVAX, we put here, actually we drew this last stream, is, you could buy a little bit here at $22, but really 20 to 22 is going to be a good risk reward for AVAX. So looking at the RSI, it is getting very close to being oversold. So that is a good thing for AVAX. Now we could end up forming some bullish divergence if, for example, you have the RSI making a higher low, and then you have price making a lower low, right? So you could have a little bullish divergence here, which would be very bullish. Around $22 could be a good level to at least bid a little bit, and then from there around 20 So that's my thoughts on AVAX with big resistance near this $30 level. Let's see. Grooverbano says, since the launch, Barra is flattened. What's your take there? Yeah, so for Barra Chain, that's another token that was doing, I mean, it had a big drop in the beginning, but since then, it's kind of consolidated, had a nice little bounce. Let's go ahead and check out the chart on Binance. So let's see if we got the 4-hour here. All right, so the 4-hour honestly doesn't look that bad. I mean, the biggest thing I look for in any chart, you want to look for higher lows. Okay, so this isn't too bad here. You even have, if you look, higher low, right? So I'll take away this trend line so you can see it easier. But yeah, you can see here, higher low, higher low, higher low. So it's in a good trend right now. It's in a good uptrend. Now what I would say is there's a little resistance at around this $6.20 level. And then also you're going to have some resistance where it wicked up to, because previous wick down, support turn resistance at around 677. So that would be that. The only thing I would look for. Now as far as support levels, I would look for a support near 570. So if you want to buy it near 570, and then a little bit lower here at about 545. So these would be the two levels I would be watching. And then resistance, again, 620 and 680. So with the RSI, I mean, the RSI is crossing to the upside actually, which is pretty bullish, especially considering all of these other tokens where the RSI is, you know, even oversold or crossing to the downside, or the stock RSI is overbought. So yeah, this actually isn't bad. Stock RSI is crossing to the upside as well. So yeah, Barra may not be a bad bet, surprisingly. I mean, it's been performing fairly strong. So I would wait until 572 or 570 to enter. I wouldn't enter in the middle of this range, but it is tentatively looking good. See, P Saint says, any thoughts on RPL? Thanks. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at RPL. And again, guys, if you aren't signed up for Blowfin, it's in the description. Again, best non-KYC leverage trading exchange, helps me out, helps out Tyrell, and helps us keep providing these live streams for you guys. As well as if you're not following us on X, X account is going to be at the CryptoData. Again, if you're not following me there, as well as Tyrell is Crypto King. So make sure you're following him, the Crypto King _. So definitely would help out and help us again to keep providing these live streams for you guys. So let's go ahead and look at RPL, and then also I'll cover the hype chart as well, since they just released their hyper EVM. So let's go ahead and go over RPL. All right, so RPL looks pretty bad. Oh my. Yeah. This is a pretty painful chart here. Yeah. So RPL, yeah, I don't think I would be touching this one. No. Yeah, RPL just looks bad because you have the RSI crossing to the downside from the signal line, the stock RSI crossing to the downside, even on the weekly chart. Like the RSI is crossing to the downside. Stock RSI, again, is oversold, but you can see here it remained oversold and still went down. So same thing here. It was oversold, had a short-term pump, and then went down. So yeah, RPL not looking good, unfortunately, P-Sync. Emmanuel says, what did you talking about this dump, and do short trades, and in which coins to do short? Yeah, Emmanuel, so as far as this whole market, I think we're just in a big period of consolidation. There is still some hope in the market, which leads me to believe we could have just a little bit further downside. But after that, I think we could have a good bounce. Everyone is basically, I mean, the sentiment is some of the worst I've seen. Like, I'll show you guys a post I made just yesterday. So, right here. So I said, I think we're very close to capitulating. The timeline is some of the worst I've seen. 2 president tokens rugged. The Libra team was the same as Melania's. And then, of course, you have the all-out PvP battle with CC's dog. No one won. Multiple founder celebrity tokens running. Multiple liquidation events, etc. Now, something to keep in mind is historically, Bitcoin has been bullish for Q1, right? February and March were both green months for the past 4 years. So could that happen this year? Let's see. Also, ETH BTC, another chart we'll look at. In my opinion, this was the bottom here, this last capitulation wick. And now we're continuing to the upside. So again, watching that. And then also you have all these other catalysts. You have Franklin Templeton, 1.2 trillion assets under management, registering their Solana trust in Delaware. You have the SEC acknowledging the ETF filings. You have Doge, XRP, and LTC have seen ETF attention. FTX refunds are starting today. Even Texas has their strategic Bitcoin reserve hearing today. OpenSea airdrop as well may create some wealth effect in the market. And then QE, quantitative easing, still on the horizon and more. So again, there's still some bearish or some bullish, reasons, bullish catalysts, but I still think that any relief bounce, people get too excited. So that's why we may have one last capitulation wick before going back to the upside. So shorts may still pay out temporarily, but I think in the next 24 to 48 hours, we could see a nice bounce. So that's my thoughts on that. No problem, Groove Urbano. Let's see. Now let's go and talk about Hype, because Hype was a token I mentioned that I've been bullish on. It's been very strong. They just released their Hyper EVM not too long ago, which whenever that released is meaning, exchanges, we're going to have to list it. They're going to have to buy the token, and also there's going to be more adoption with it. And so I drew here on the daily this higher low, just like we were talking about earlier. That's what I want to see. I want to see higher lows on the chart, and that's exactly what we're seeing here is, it released Hyper EVM, and actually you can see more on the 4-hour, where actually, let's see if we can, even on the 15-minute, really where it happened. So let's see. Yeah, so this spike here, this is when they launched Hyper EVM. So you can see we have this huge spike to the upside. It couldn't break above this 2730 resistance, which is why I always draw these SR lines, and then it broke back to the downside. Now, with that said, it was a sell the news event, but we can still see it's making higher lows. Now, if you're looking to buy Hype, I would look first at 2170, and then the money level would be $20. This is major support here. For those who don't know, Hyperliquid, they use the fees that they get to buy back and burn the token. So anytime there's big liquidation events, it earns them more fees, and they just keep buying the token. So it's almost a perpetual flywheel where they just keep buying the token, right? So they, in a way, they have some semblance of a support. That's why $20 has been big support, and that's why they continue to buy the token with funds they have and continue to keep propping it up. So again, great tokenomics for Hyperliquid. It's very decentralized and why a lot of people love it. So yeah, as long as we keep making these higher lows, I will continue to remain bullish on Hyperliquid. Now let's see what else we have. Let's see. Yep, already talked about AVAX. Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about ETH BTC. So ETH BTC, same thing. Like I said, this wick to the downside is most likely the bottom. Now we're making higher lows. So as long as we can maintain this pattern, right, we're making these higher lows eventually, stair-step our way up, then we could, see a breakout on Ethereum. But until we get that, I'm just going to keep, tentatively still bullish. But if we do break down here, then Ethereum could be in for some trouble. So just keep that in mind. But looking at the RSI right now, it is curving to the downside, which does not look good. I would like to see this curving back. Looking at the weekly chart, now this is the silver lining here, is the weekly chart is oversold, now curving to the upside. So this is what you want to see, after eventual capitulation. You want to see these weekly RSIs oversold, and then once that happens, last time the weekly RSI was oversold, you can see we bounced, let's see exactly how much we bounced here. So initially we bounced 11%, 12%, which means a lot of alts sent as well. This was back in October. You remember October of 2023, we started to have that nice run. And then after that, we had a short pullback, but then a bullish divergence, and that took us even higher. It's about a 17%. So after that, last time we were oversold, a little bit of a price increase here. Call it about 15%. So that's a good amount. That's a good amount there. So that's some hope as well. A 15% move. So if we can expect here, whenever we had this huge drop, now if we go 15%, that would take us above this 0.03 level, which could be enough to start new momentum. So it shows you that we still have some room to run, and we could still continue much higher here. So watching it closely again. It seems like every time Ethereum gets a run, it gets sold off into. So let's see if this time is any different. And with that, let's see if there's any other tokens. I mean, we can look at the top 24-hour gainers. And then if no one has any questions, then we'll end the stream here. But looking at the top 24-hour gainers, we have BitTensor, so Tau, 6%, LTC, Litecoin up 5%, Makers up 5%. It was doing very well. Tokenized Exchange up 2%, Mantra up 1.6%. So yeah, so Tau, let's go ahead and check Tau out real quick. We'll check out Tau and Litecoin, and then we'll end the stream unless anyone has any other questions. So let's go ahead and check out Tau. So AI is a big sector that I think could come back. I mean, you have Grok 3 that Elon released for XAI. That's been gaining some attention because it's shown it's beaten OpenAI or ChatGPT in a lot of metrics. So now there's hype in AI again. So I do think that with Tau, I mean, it bounced nicely off this 350 level. That's why it pays, guys. It pays to watch these major support resistance levels because they do play out regardless of what some may think. Now, in saying that, if you had a bid 350 on 3x leverage, this thing went down to 240. So you would have, what is that, 90, yeah, you would have been liquidated actually, because I think 260 would have been around liquidation. So yeah, you would have been liquidated on this. So that's why it's, it could be a little risky even on 3x when you have these huge liquidation cascades, but nonetheless, more times than not, you're going to catch these good levels and they're going to end up bouncing. And now like we're seeing with Tau, we're starting to see, again, it's low, higher lows, right? That's what I want to see, higher lows, higher lows. So the next thing for Tau is one, breaking above this 21 EMA, but really looking for resistance at about 415. And then once we hit 415, about 475 is big resistance. So if you're looking to buy some, I wouldn't rush here. I'd place some DCA orders at limit orders at 350 and 315. So below that, I would look at some good support near 220. So if you can get it near 220, I mean, that's going to be the money support. But then if you want to get a little bit sooner, then about 285 where we bounced from last time. So watching that closely, and then, you know, see where we go from there. But yeah, so far Tau is looking good tentatively. Checking out the RSI, it is bouncing off of the signal line, very bullish here. So that looks good, as well as the stock RSI curving back to the upside. So good indications on Tau. And then let's go on LTC. So Litecoin's been doing pretty good, not even going to lie. Litecoin's been outperforming fairly well. You can see it's bounced nicely off of $100. If you can get it anywhere near 100, 97 to 100, good level. And then after that, looking at about 115 for the next support. So I would not be buying here, guys, at this resistance, even though the RSI is looking good, bouncing off that signal line. The stock RSI is still curving to the downside. So I would say wait if you can get Litecoin. If you can get Litecoin near 115 again, may not be a bad bet. Really, 100 is going to be the money play, but it may not get there. So, yeah, so Litecoin's looking good. I mean, if Litecoin can break above 138, you could make this a breakout play. Like, if it breaks above 138, you look for the retest, and you could buy here. That would be a play as well, right? So, yeah, but it's coming up against a lot of resistance here. As you can see, 137 is very big resistance. But, yeah, this 21 EMA is acting as some support. So if you can get it near 120, that may not be a bad bet either. So, yeah, 120, 115, and then $100 for Litecoin. And the resistance is going to be this 130 and then 138. Adon says, what time frame do you trade on usually? So usually I'll trade on the 4-hour or the daily, because any lower than the 4-hour and there's too much chop, any higher than the daily and you're looking a little too far out. Like, for example, if on the daily you're looking at, let's say the RSI, or let's do this. Let's say the stock RSI, okay? So you're looking at the stock RSI and it's oversold, like around here. Well, on the weekly chart, this is probably going to take a few weeks to play out because it's a weekly chart. Each candle is 1 week. So even though you have oversold on the stock RSI, well, it may take a few weeks to play out. Whereas on the daily, as you can see here, right when the daily was oversold on the stock RSI, it literally played out the next day, right? So you only had to wait a few days for it to really play out. Whereas the stock, if you're looking at the weekly chart, it's going to take a few weeks. You're going to have a lot of chop. But the daily literally only takes a few days. Even the 4-hour, you can see here, the 4-hour, it only took 8 hours, 12 hours for this to play out once the stock RSI got oversold. So that's why it pays, guys. It pays to look at these indicators, right? It pays to look at these indicators because especially if you're looking at the time frames that everyone else is looking at, like the 4-hour or the daily, then you can catch these moves within a few days, and you don't have to wait a few weeks if you're looking at these higher time frames. So I just look at the higher time frames to get an overall view of the market, and overall generally if it's bullish or bearish, but really the money's made on the 4-hour or the daily, because you can be more reactionary at that point. Let's see, Emmanuel says, I know it's a small coin, but what are your thoughts on ACH? Let's go ahead and check it out. So let's pull it up on Deck Screener. Let's see, ACH. Let's see, is Alchemy Pay the one? I'm assuming it's Alchemy Pay on Solana. If not, then just link the contract address. No, this one isn't it. Yeah, Alchemy on BNB. I'm assuming this may be it. If it's not, just let me know. Yeah, if it's Alchemy on BNB, then I would say this one isn't. It's okay. I mean, there's some resistance near this 190 mil, so I'd be looking to buy it near 124. And then I'll pull up the RSI real quick. The RSI doesn't look too bad. So yeah, so right now you're kind of in a, it's kind of in the middle of a range, so I wouldn't rush it. But like I said, either play it where it reclaims as 190 and then breaks and breaks above and then retest as support and then buy it there, or wait for it to come back and then back to the upside and buy it at 125, and then 100 would be good support as well. Regina says, can you look at Ondo and XRP? Yeah, let's go ahead and look at that. I actually had an XRP chart up. Yeah, right here. So XRP is another interesting one. There's been some ETF news on it as well, so definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, XRP, we even drew this last stream, funny enough. But yeah, XRP actually ended up retesting this 275 resistance, rejected. We actually had this micro support here at 260. I didn't think it would hold. That's why I drew this further down line. So yeah, with XRP, the RSI looks to be curving to the downside below the, almost below the signal line. The stock RSI looks very bad on the daily as well. So yeah, I would not be rushing to buy here. Like at a minimum, I would say 225. 225 XRP may not be bad. And then $2 would be like the money long. So yeah, so I would say $2 is the strong support level. And then this 225 is going to be a little bit riskier. But if we do have a little flash crash, it could definitely tag 225 and you could buy that and hopefully look to sell around 275. So either that, or you'll want to wait until it can break above this 275 level, retest it as support, and then buy from there. So for example, if it does this, boom, you could buy here at 275 because then it reclaimed this previous resistance and made it support. And then Ondo. So Ondo is another interesting one. Let's go ahead and let's pull it up on the LTC chart. So yeah, Ondo is a big RWA play. It actually ended up bouncing off of this previous capitulation wick. So it's not too bad here. But as you can see, it's kind of in the middle of the range still. What I would say for Ondo is wait for it to regain this previous resistance, 120, retest it as support, and then you can buy here at 120. So either that, or wait for it to come back down to 112, where it's bounced before. Again, it may be a little riskier, because we do still have a lot of downside, around 95 cents. But yeah, I would say what you could do is probably buy it at 112, set your stop loss at about 107, and then if it breaks that, then I'll put your next buy order at 95 cents. So you could either play it that way, or you could wait for it to break above 120, retest it as support, and then buy there. So either way. Tribesman says, my thing is, who's going to sell their Bitcoin for these coins? Yeah. So Tribesman, great question. Because this cycle, what we've seen is we've seen more outperformance from Bitcoin versus altcoins, right? It's one of those things where it's different because you have all these countries and these institutions adopting Bitcoin, but a lot of these altcoins are kind of getting put in the gutter. So we're not having that alt season that we usually have, especially because you have all the coins in the trenches via pump.fun. The capital is being diluted. Then you have all these scams, all these, these people that are just extracting liquidity, such as Libra, even the CAR token. Melania, right? A lot of these memes that ended up just dumping on everyone. And so people are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, they want to make money on the trenches, but they're getting scammed. And then they want to make money off altcoins and majors, but they aren't moving much because Bitcoin's moving. So that's where the question becomes, where are we at in the market cycle? Are we at the top? Are we at the disbelief phase before we go a lot higher? Like, that's $1 million question. I think both sides could see it. And I'll actually show you what I talked about. So market cycle. Let's see if we can bring up the chart real quick. So this right here. So this is the chart. Again, see if I can zoom in for you guys. Whoops. It's getting a little... Okay, no, never mind. It doesn't want to do that. Anyway, so here you go. So hopefully you guys can see this. But yeah, so some people are thinking, okay, are we near this, I don't even want to say optimism stage, right? Or this like disbelief, this hope, you know, this rally will feel like the others, like around here before optimism, before we start getting even higher? Or are we at euphoria to where now we're going to go down and this is the top of the cycle? I tend to think we're still earlier in the cycle. And I posted a couple reasons in my previous tweet the other day. But yeah, just because, I mean, we've had multiple billion-dollar liquidation events. We've had, again, you had celebrity tokens making, you know, presidents making tokens. Arguably, you could say it's the top signal, but we haven't really had a major alt season yet. Maybe there's an alt season in meme coins. Maybe you could argue for that, but it's just so many people are still waiting to invest. They're waiting for some returns, and whether that's going to come whenever quantitative easing starts or whenever Trump announces 0% capital gains tax on the market for U.S.-based cryptocurrencies, or in general, or, you know, something, some catalyst, a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And at this point, again, I could be reaching for straws here, whereas these are just false hopes and the market pumps for little then sells. But I tend to believe that most people in the market have lost money right now in this cycle, because this cycle has actually been one of the hardest in my opinion. And actually, let me know, guys, has this cycle been harder than previous cycles, or have you been doing really well in this cycle? Because most people I know have been getting chopped up. Most people I know have been losing money. Even though it seems like it should be on easy mode, they'll make money on one token, but then they'll try to trade and get chopped up in 10 other tokens. And so I think that's the name of the game, and why most people are just giving back their gains in the market. So yeah, I think some of the aforementioned catalysts I talked about, hopefully those will send us higher. But at the end of the day, you just got to take profits and bet at major support levels on the daily and weekly. Like, that's the best thing you can do right now, and not try to rush, not try to catch a falling knife, because again, Bitcoin is the main character of the show right now, and most altcoins are lagging. But if you can catch some of them at major support levels and ride the narratives, such as with Tau, Litecoin, a few others, then you could still make money. But it's definitely a little bit harder in my opinion. Felix says, thanks for covering some coins. March for alts towards May. Yeah, Felix, March could be a good time, right? I've seen actually that opinion as well. Some other guys were saying March should be start alt season, so that could very well could be when we start. Which again, March, a few more days, right? We got about a week and a half left before March starts, so could we have a little bit more chop, maybe break down, maybe right here where I had, go to 89K and then curve back to the upside and start alt season from here, right? That could very well happen. It's just a waiting game at this point, not trying to rush it, and just continuing to bet at major support resistance levels on the daily and the weekly. So with that, guys, this is going to end the stream. Again, if you like the video, please give it a like. I really appreciate it. Trying to grow my subscribers, trying to keep more consistent content coming. These streams are Tuesday through Thursday between 12 to 3 p.m. Usually I try to start them at 12 p.m. CST, but like today, started a little late. But hopefully this content helped you guys out. If you have any recommendations, go ahead and leave them either in the trenches, in my Telegram group, anywhere you can communicate with me, and I'll try to make these videos the best I can. Again, use the Blowfin link, sign up for Blowfin, best non-KYC leverage trading exchange. Helps me out, helps out Tyrell, as well as join the Telegram group and follow us on X at the CryptoData and at the CryptoKing_. So again, thanks guys so much for watching, and until next time, see you later.